I'm Katie Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. Do you know that moment when you finally get to sit down at night? You're exhausted, the kids are finally asleep, and you're like, you have like that full body sigh, and you're like, that relief. And then your eyes land on the pile, the mess pile, the clutter pile, and then your mind's like, the energy's gone, the house feels heavy, and the guilt starts creeping in, and you're like, why can't I just keep up? Or other moms are decluttering when their kids are asleep. Why can't I just get it together? Has this happened to you too? Because I'll be honest, this was a nightly cycle of thoughts that used to flash through my mind when my kids were little and I was trying to declutter. I remember this so vividly, like working full time, so tired when I was home. So a listener named Whitney recently emailed, and I want to read it to you because what she said, it really felt like holding up to a mirror to that season of my life. And maybe you can relate too. She said, I feel so defeated by listening to all these declutter podcasts while I'm at work, which are so motivating to me, but I wish I was home to do the work. Once I get home, the motivation is gone and I'm so worn out, I accomplish nothing. So Whitney, girl, if you're listening, thank you for sending this, because this isn't, I'll be honest, just your story. It's a story I hear every single day and I've experienced, and it's time we talk about it, right? But before we dive into the how, the wins, the mindset shifts, real progress you can make, girl, even when you are exhausted. I've been there, I've done it. We can do this. I really quickly want to name the why. We have to get to the heart of it. That is why we do this show. That is why we get unstuck. We have to pull the weed out by the root, because if you've been feeling stuck, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because the system you're trying to operate inside was never built to support your real full life. So let's start here. Your clutter, your overwhelm, and your exhaustion, it's not lack of willpower or lack of effort. It is a natural result of living in a world that we live in, right? And we could do 8 billion episodes on the why, but I'll just tie it back to some simple things, right? A world that constantly tells you to do more, be more, prove more. Does it ever feel like, friend, that no matter what you do, there's always more to do? Because here's the reality. I used to feel that way even when my home hit a really great point, because of my belief system around my home should look and feel, and also my belief system about what done looks like. I used to believe that done looks like a perfectly tidy home. It stays that way forever and I can kick my feet up and relax the rest of my life. But we know that's not the truth. Or maybe you feel like the pressure to be productive or organized and on top of it is never ending. It's because it is. Has anyone ever made you feel like resting is lazy? Holy cannoli. Yeah, me too. If your home isn't perfect, you're failing. All these different nuances and messages we're receiving. Here's the truth. You're not. What you're experiencing is a result of trying to, again, operate in that system that wasn't built for you. We are bombarded with messages telling us to do this. We should do more, look more put together, keep everything perfectly tidy, get Botox, get a facelift, do 30 minutes of facial exercises to stop aging. Like, it's so overwhelming. And I'm supposed to declutter. I'm like, I can barely figure out what's for dinner tonight. We are trying to balance so much more than just our stuff, the mental load, the emotional stress, relationships, life. We get it, right? But here's the second truth. You don't have to keep playing a game that leaves you feeling exhausted. You don't have to decorate your home to impress anyone or live up to some invisible standard. You don't have to tackle a marathon of decluttering just to make progress, and you don't have to do it all perfectly. You can choose to declutter for peace. It's about doing what works for you, not some external checklist or standard. Decluttering doesn't have to be about looking a certain way. It's about creating a space that reflects what you value and makes you feel at ease. This, my friend, is where your power starts, whether you're exhausted when you're listening to this or not. My guess is you are because of the title of this episode. We need to ask ourselves, what does enough look like to me? Yeah, I get it. I would love to go through my closet, pull everything out, Marie Kondo my closet, ask what sparks joy, get perfect results, and spend 8 hours a day and be done with it. I don't have an elusive 8 hours a day to declutter like all the quote unquote professionals tell us is the best way to do. Pull everything out, step one, then I'll ask what we're over it, right? So what do our brains typically do? Well, if I can't do it right, what's the point? Or I just want to get it all done and then I get it, but you have to integrate it into your everyday life. This is about consistency and sustainability. I always say in the world that promises us or teaches us or praises us to be the hare, as in the rabbit, right? In the tortoise and the hare little fable, be the freaking tortoise and be good with it. Homie, like I am good with being a tortoise because it has gotten me so much further than burning out, racing in a life that, like, again, it's a race I don't want to do anymore. And that could be life, like other things in life. That could be a career you're pursuing or whatever. It could be something as small as decluttering, right? Your success doesn't hinge on what other people's version of success looks like, or in a day with social media, what they say it is, or what it appears to be, right? It's like the Wizard of Oz. So choose your values over the world's expectations. What does enough look like to me? What do I want my home to feel like? Not just look like. We get so hung up on aesthetics, right? Look, what do I want this room to look? How do I want this room to feel? Who do I want this room to support? What is the purpose of this space? What kind of life am I building inside these walls? Can you relate to this? Like, I remember standing in my living room, toys everywhere, dishes in the sink, and thinking like, how is this my life? I'm trying my best and I still feel like I'm failing. And the truth hit me. I wasn't building a home based on what mattered to me. I was trying to keep up with an invisible standard I didn't even believe in to begin with. That day I stopped asking what's wrong with me and I started asking what would make this feel better right now? What can I actually do right now? And this is one of the first steps toward decluttering from a place of alignment instead of shame, right? I call it the good enough home concept. It changed everything. Okay, so we start there. Recognize the culture we're in. We make the brave choice to step outside of it, step your little toe outside of it. You don't have to sprint out of it, but question it, right? That's my cat in the background, by the way. If you hear a little crying, it's not a baby, it is a cat. Decluttering the beliefs, the standards, the norms that you don't want to subscribe to anymore is a part of reclaiming your power, especially in a season of survival. Because it's those seasons when we're so exhausted that those thoughts, what's the point of doing this? The mess comes. I get it, right? You're self-sabotaging sometimes. I certainly did. It's not by doing more. It's deciding what matters most. All right. Off the pedestal. Here we go. Now we need to redefine progress in your survival season. And I want to say, I still head into survival seasons. I was just in one. Summertime, hello. Oh my gosh. I'm still sweating from summertime with the kids. It was a lot. So if you're holding a lot right now, maybe you're working schedule, raising kids, managing meals, bills, appointments, like finding time to breathe, then you need a new definition of progress. The old version of success, aka the hare, the rabbit, it's loud, it's performative, it's all or nothing. It says things like, I need to clean the whole room, or what's the point? I should be decluttering for an hour each night, or I'll have to wait until a full weekend to tackle this. I've been there. But here's what happens. You procrastinate, you feel guilty, you do nothing. Not because you don't care, but because the bar is too high for your current reality. Has this happened to you too? You maybe set out to tackle a big project and then it feels too overwhelming to start. So instead, I want you to try this question. What's one tiny thing I can do to feel a little bit better right now? And here's the thing. If you are in survival, it might not even be decluttering, and that's okay. Because whatever it is you truly need to fill your cup, when you do those things, you will gain more energy and more clarity to go declutter one thing today, right? This isn't like, oh, like obviously it's to declutter. Yes, but there are other things you need to do. I've been there, girl. Maybe it's sleep. Maybe it's, hey, I need a sip of water. Maybe it's, oh, I forgot to eat today. I need to go eat and get my blood sugar back up, right? Basic things that, trust me, I still forget to do in my survival modes. Like, this is why we have each other, right? We need these reminders. And after you've had that snack, girl, after you've, popped that frozen pizza in the oven for dinner, no guilt. And you're just like, yep, I'm feeding my kids. They're having cereal, scrambled eggs. Who cares for dinner? Then you're going to maybe think, hey, what can I do? Okay, now I feel better. I had my snack. Katie told me to. I feel better. Okay, what can I do? What's one tiny thing? I can put 2 things that I see on the countertop right now from where I'm standing and put it in my donation bag. Or maybe it's, hey, I need a donation station in my home, right? Set up a box, accessible and visible. You can start adding stuff to on a consistent basis. I'm just going to tackle one corner of the counter. I know I want to tackle this whole thing, but I'm going to take Katie's advice and just tackle a small pile from it. Progress over perfection. Maybe it's folding 3 shirts while you wait for coffee to brew, or taking a nap so you don't lose your mind at bedtime, right? These are not small things. These are tiny acts of energy, of space, of peace, and you're reclaiming. I'll never forget one night I had this whole decluttering plan mapped out. This was many years ago. And I was like, I'm going to do the full step 1 to 38 that the pros tell you how to declutter. I was going to organize the hallway closet and do all these things, but I never made it. I fell asleep putting Levi to bed. And I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. I still had my clothes on, my makeup on my face. It's all smeared. And this to-do list that I never touched. And I woke up feeling like I failed. I'm like, dang, another night, right? But the next night, I had just enough energy to get rid of 2 things from that space. And that was it. And it felt like a little breath, right? A reset. And that cleared off space became a symbol that I wasn't stuck. I was just tired, right? And taking small, real steps when I had the bandwidth, when you have the bandwidth, is going to do more than you realize. It's not about, I know what you're thinking because I thought this too. What's that going to matter, Katie? My home is a disaster. You don't understand. What's 2 things a day? It's going to barely make a dent. It's not worth it. Well, ask the tortoise if it was worth it to take 2 steps, right? Still crossed the finish line. He didn't burn himself out. He never at one point, or maybe she's a she. Let's name her a she. She never was like, oh, I just wish I were a hare. She didn't just give up. She didn't say, forget this race. I'm not doing it. What's the point? She's like, I'm just going to make this work for me. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm going to try and enjoy the ride as much as I can and do what I can and be content with that. Yes, it would be nice to have maybe someone put me on a skateboard and like push me along the track. That would move me along a little bit faster. I get it, but that's not where I am right now, right? So take that breath. And here's why this works. When you shrink the task and remove perfection from the picture or your version of what success looks like, you bypass that part of your brain that says, ooh, girl, too hard, or ooh, girl, this isn't worth it. Nope. And this is what I love about my holistic decluttering philosophy is you create that psychological safety to take action. This is called a success momentum loop. You get a small win, you get a confidence boost, you get more motivation, and you repeat. It doesn't come from overhauls or massive decluttering weekends. Those are great if you can do them, but they're not required. And I will say, truly to this day, I wholeheartedly believe that my small actions, 1 thing here, 2 things added to the donation bin here, clutter audits, I call them, that is what's made my home change for the better. In my identity as a simplifier, right? It comes from stacking tiny wins. We all want to hear this crazy new, like, oh, what's the brand new strategy with decluttering? That's gonna like revolutionize decluttering. But I'm telling you, I've learned this years ago. So hear me out. It's the basic boring stuff that moves the needle the most and that our brain tells us is not worth it. This is what got me to the finish line and continuing on, right? And it's what's going to help you too. So if all you do today is toss a broken crayon in the trash, delete 10 emails, take a breath on your back porch, like that's progress. And at this point, maybe along your declutter journey too, maybe you're realizing that it's not just the clutter holding you back, it's the story you've attached to it, right? Resting is lazy. I should be able to do more. And those beliefs don't just stay in your head. They really shape how you feel about your home, your habits, and your worth. And that's speaking from my own perspective. You might feel a little bit different, but again, I've been working with so many women and families for so long that I know I'm not alone in that. So I hope my vulnerability in sharing that helps you know you're not alone if you feel the same. Here's a hard truth I had to face on my own journey in survival seasons, or at all. You will never feel peace in your home if your beliefs are warring against your reality. And this truly, it makes me tear up because this was me for so long. Maybe it's you. Like that inner tension, like Whitney shared, between the capacity you have and the expectations you've absorbed, it's what keeps you stuck in this clutter loop. So instead of trying to push harder or wish you were in a different season, flip the script. Instead of, I'm not doing enough, say, I'm doing my best, and that's enough for now. Instead of, I'm too tired to make progress, progress comes in short, tiny bursts. I don't need to be on all the time to take a tiny step. Or instead of thinking everyone else is doing more and is so successful and look at her tidy home, you could say, everyone's life looks different behind the scenes. I'm choosing what works for mine. This is how we rewire our patterns and take action even when we're exhausted. Not with guilt, it's not with hustle, but with compassionate, conscious repetition. Every time you catch yourself in those old beliefs, I still get them to choose a new one because you're building a home that works for the real you in this real season. And if you've been stuck, I want to gently suggest maybe it's not your stuff. Maybe it's the story you've been telling yourself about your stuff. And the beautiful part, you're the author of that story. You can change the story starting today. So Whitney, girl, if you're listening, and to every other woman who's felt this way, you're not behind, you're not failing, you're in a very full season of life. And in this season, one of the best things you can do, and I really believe it's a brave thing to do, is show up in small, honest, imperfect ways. Take the nap, clear the drawer, ignore the garage right now. Celebrate 3 items in the donation bag. This is what momentum looks like today. That's what healing looks like right now. If this episode gave you a breath of fresh air, send it to a friend. You always text when life feels like too much. Let her know she's not alone either. And here's the thing, we aren't meant to carry this alone. This is why I love this podcast and I love talking to you guys each and every week. If you are ready, by the way, for tiny, doable wins tailored to your energy level, come join me for the next 14-day challenge. We start on September 8th. This is exactly the kind of support we support you through. No pressure, no shame, just peace on your terms. So click the link in the show notes and join us and use the code podcast for $20 off. Friend, you know what to do. I hope to see you September 8th. And if I don't, I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, y'all.